everyone, welcome to the book station. I am Sanjana, a guest on my own channel because I rarely make videos. So before anyone comments, I can't even talk. Now you know why I don't make videos. Anyway, before anyone comments and says, hey, you don't make any videos on your own channel, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm a guest on my own channel. With that, let me show you some of the books that have filled this gap on my bookshelf. I was on a book buying ban, so I didn't want to buy any books. So the second best thing was to loot my friends' bookshelves. So with that, I filled this gap with almost 10 books, which I'm going to show you in today's haul. Let's get started. The first 3 books is a trilogy, and it's one of the most famous in India, and the author is so loved, and I've heard only good things about this author, and that is the Shiva Trilogy by Amish Tripathi. I've been binge reading this trilogy for the past 1 month. I'm halfway through the 3rd book. The first one is The Immortals of Meluha. The second is The Secret of Nagas, and the third is The Oath of the Vayuputras. And I've been loving it. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that I read Amish Tripathi's Sita last year, but I did not really love it, at least not as much as the Shiva trilogy. Now that I'm reading it, I know why everyone loves and suggests his books so much. If you haven't read this already, you are living under a rock like I did until a month ago. So go buy yourself these books and start reading them immediately. The second book that I got from my friend is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalaniti. I'll read to you what this book is about. At the age of 36, on the verge of completing a decade's worth of training as a neurosurgeon, Paul Kalaniti was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. One day he was a doctor treating the dying, and the next he was a patient struggling to live. And just like that, the future he and his wife had imagined evaporated. When Breath Becomes Air chronicles Kalaniti's transformation from a naive medical student, possessed, as he wrote, by the question of what, given that all organisms die, makes a virtuous and meaningful life, into a neurosurgeon at Stanford working in the brain, the most critical place for human identity, and finally into a patient and new father confronting his own mortality. I'm going to stop there because that is absolutely moving, and this reminds me of the book by Atul Gawande. I don't really remember the book's name, but my father read this book and he said it's absolutely brilliant, and so did my friend. So I think I shall find a lot of life lessons in this book, so I'm going to read it. And I would suggest it to anyone who wants to read such books about life and death as well. The next book that I have here is one that is being suggested by everyone because it's a self-help book that has become truly famous. That is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I've heard a lot of YouTubers and Instagrammers, bookstagrammers that I follow suggest this book, and I haven't started reading it, but I truly want to because self-help is a genre of literature that I love reading and truly absorb a lot. Hence, The Psychology of Money. The next book is Jeffrey Archer's The Sin of the Father. I haven't read much Jeffrey Archer, but I have heard a lot about him, and this I think is the second book in a trilogy. Let me read what it's about. New York, 1939. Tom Bradshaw is arrested for first-degree murder. He stands accused of killing his brother. When Sefton Jelks, a top Manhattan lawyer, offers his services for nothing, penniless Tom has little choice but to accept his assurance of a lighter sentence. After Tom is tried, found guilty and sentenced, Jelks disappears, and the only way for him to prove his innocence would be to reveal his true identity, something that he has sworn never to do in order to protect the woman he loves. That's so intriguing, and I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it, but before this I would want to read the first book in the trilogy, but again, it was on my friend's bookshelf, so I had to take it away. The next is an author that I blindly suggest to anyone who loves reading about African literature, and that is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I've read her other books, Zikora, Purple Hibiscus, which is somewhere here, and Half of a Yellow Sun as well, which I read very recently and enjoyed. I've written a review of it on my Instagram, so you can go check it out there. And Americana, which is this book, has been on my bookshelf, on my TBR, for a very long time. And when I saw it on my friend's bookshelf, I had to loot it. She had started reading this book, but I said I really want to read it before her. I mean, I couldn't wait, so I picked it up. So I think I'm going to enjoy this book. Let me tell you what this book is about. Ifemelu and Obinze are young and in love when they depart military-ruled Nigeria. In America, Ifemelu has to grapple with what it means to be black despite her academic success. Obinze plunges into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. 15 years later, when they reunite in a newly democratic Nigeria and reignite their passion, they face the hardest decision of their lives. This is what I love about Adichie, that she writes about lives of people and intertwines it with the political milieu and the political upheavals in such a great manner that it impacts you and leaves an imprint on you forever. And she is a great writer, and I would suggest her books to anyone who loves reading about such political aspects of life. The next book I think is more famous because of the movie, that is Razi. This is Calling Sehmat by Harinder Sikka. Like you can see, it was bought from Sapna Book House at a 20% discount. I've watched the movie and I know the story, but I truly believe that the book is definitely going to be much better, and hence plan to read it very soon. The next two books are books that I have not heard much about. The first one is Room by Emma Donoghue. I'm sure you would have heard the movie Room, and it is based on this book, but I don't know what this book is about, and there's no blurb as well. There are only reviews, but I think it's about this mother and son who spend most of their lives in a room, and hence I expect it to be moving, and I think I shall enjoy it a lot. Hence gonna read this very soon. The next book is another one that I had not heard much about. It is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. The blurb of this book is absolutely thrilling, hence I picked this up. Let me read you what it says. So begins this exquisite novel about a Chinese-American family living in 1970s small town Ohio. Lydia is the favorite child of Marilyn and James Lee, and her parents are determined that she will fulfill the dreams they were unable to pursue. But when Lydia's body is found in the local lake, the delicate balancing act that has been keeping the Lee family together is destroyed, tumbling them all into chaos. This book is so intriguing, and I love reading about such themes, and hence I believe I'm going to enjoy this a lot. The last book that I borrowed from my friend is again really, I don't know how to put this, but I started reading this book a few months ago, but I did not enjoy it. I have one copy of it here, like here you can see that, and now I have another copy. That is All the Light We Cannot See. My friend got this book, she read it, did not love it, so she said take it away from my bookshelf, and now I have two copies of a book that I myself don't think I can read, but this is set in World War II, which I greatly am curious about and love reading. So I picked this book a few weeks ago, but I was not able to absorb everything that it was trying to convey. So I put it aside, but I believe that I might be able to absorb it a few years later. So I'm going to keep this copy on my bookshelf. So those are all the books that I've borrowed from my friends to fill this gap, and would love to buddy read with any of you who haven't read it. So if you want to buddy read it with me, then ping me on my Instagram and we shall buddy read. And I shall see you in the next video. Until then, do read a book and take care. Bye-bye.